Howdy folks, today we're going to be doing a little bit of work on the 1009. We need to be able to use this truck to go ahead as somewhat of a camper. We've got actually a road trip coming up where we're going to need to be able to sleep inside here. So that is not going to work real well with the back seat in there. So we have to be able to pull the back seat out and make it so that we can go ahead and actually, put a cot or something like that back here. But the back seat, in order to remove it, we have to fold it forward, which we can't with the radio rack there. So today we're going to be doing a little bit of work. We're going to try to go ahead and get this radio rack pulled out. Now, we don't want to pull the radio rack out completely. We just need to go ahead and remove it so we can get the seat out, and then we'll go ahead and reinstall it. So we've got some tools together, and we're going to go ahead and work on that a little bit. And we've got to pull a bunch of the wires loose. We're also going to remove the tray there and the mount for the R442 because we don't need that. We don't have a 442, and I'm not going to be getting one soon. But that space on the rack there is a good space, about the right size for the MRE and the little water heater that I have. So at any rate, stick around. Let's get to it. All right. Now, one of the first things we need to do is we need to go ahead and cut all of these zip ties that are holding these cables on it. Some of these zip ties are pretty fragile. They've been in here for a long time. So we're going to get those removed. Yeah, you can see that one broke pretty easily. Now, some of this stuff was put in by the previous owner. He's got a little power strip deal put in down there, and so we're going to be maintaining that. We're going to be keeping that so that we can go ahead and plug into that and charge charge devices and things like that. Now, one of the things that you do have to be careful with these 1009s and with any of these Cuckvies is the when you go ahead and charge things off of the battery, this is a dual voltage system. It's a 12 volt system for all the cigarette lighter plugs, all the lights. The glow plugs are 12 volt. But the starter is 24 volt, and that's so that you can go ahead and have interoperability with other military vehicles. So you can go ahead and jumpstart this thing off of a 5-ton or a M1 Abrams tank or whatever. But all of the 12 volt accessories on the truck are drawn off of one battery, off of one 12 volt battery. There's two 12 volt batteries linked in series to go ahead and make your 24 volts. But if you just hook a positive and negative up to one of the batteries, all you get off of that is 12 volts. That being said, if you're going ahead and constantly, say, charging things and pulling off of the 12 volt without the engine running and both generators running, it'll create an imbalance there, and it'll drop your voltage down low enough so that you won't be able to start it. So, you know, what I'm going to be doing eventually is I'm going to be doing a 24 to 12 volt converter. So as it's pulling power, you know, to charge things like that while the truck's not running, it's pulling both batteries down equally. That way you don't end up with one battery basically dying and becoming unusable early. So, any rate, we're going to go ahead and get these supports removed off of the mounting bracket here. And I think you take a 1/2 inch wrench or a 1/2 inch socket. And then I think all we have to do is take the 3 bolts off the top that mount this thing here. There we go. That pulls this whole thing out of the way, and then we should be able to start working on getting the seat folded up and out of the way. And there we go. That was not all that difficult. So we do have to get some other tools together to pull all of this stuff, pull the seat belt brackets out and pull the main seat bracket out. So, and then we got to get a vacuum cleaner in here because it's a mess in here. Okay, first thing we're going to do is we're going to pull these seat belt brackets off. And they are a Torx bit. All right. Okay, I think we're going to have to get a breaker bar for that. So let's try removing the seat. And we got to find the right socket for that, which is going to be Probably about a 1/2 inch socket. There it is. And now we'll see if this will break. Alright, we're going to have to go get some knocker loose or something like that in there, and a long breaker bar to get this stuff loose. We'll be back. Okay, we're going to go ahead and give this stuff a try. It was in a box of stuff that I had, so put that on there. Run the bolt down. And she pulled it right back out. So there we go. We've got the seat loose. We're going to go ahead and get the seat pulled out of here. And the next thing we got to do is get the seat belt mounting bolts, mounting points out. And that will be good. Alright, we're going to put these bolts back in with some washers behind them, just so that we don't lose the bolts, because we are going to put the seat belt or the back seat back in it at some point in time, I'm sure. So we're just going to put a little bit of anti-seize on there and screw these things back in. We do not want to lose these bolts. And we do want to be able to get them back out when we go to put the seat in, but we don't want to lose the bolts. We're going to do the same thing with the little bolts that held that that little seat support up. And we're going to do the same thing with all the bolts to hold the radio rack up. we're gonna need a breaker bar to get, and we're gonna find what we did with the socket. There it is. Try to get these things loose. Them suckers are in there. Let's try. Hitting it with the gun on the highest setting to break these bad boys out of here. Nope. They ain't coming loose. I'm gonna have to get a longer breaker bar to cheater bar to get those out. So we'll go back in the shop and see if we can't find one. Well, that wasn't good. I forgot to hit the record button when I tried to break this one loose, and this is what happened. She snapped that bad boy off, and so those seatbelt pieces may not be coming out for this application. Those, I think I'm just going to end up leaving them there for the time being. So what we do have to measure is I'm going to put a piece of plywood in here to go ahead and level this, you know, up to just about behind the seats. And so we've got to measure how much room how wide a piece of plywood we need. And I think we can go between the wheel wells here. And that's going to be just like a regular old full-size Chevy truck, 48 inches. So we can get a 4 foot by 4 foot by about probably about 6.5 foot, probably a 4 foot by 6 foot piece of plywood. And I think I have a piece that'll work, so I'm going to go ahead and get in here with a vacuum, clean this up, and try to find that piece of plywood and see if we can't set that in. We're going to have to make some additional supports for this end of the plywood to go ahead and keep it up and off of the floorboard there. And I also am going to come off with another little piece of plywood to go up to just about to where the shifter is, for a, you know, kind of a center console type thing. I think we'll see how this works out. Let's go find me that let's go find me the shop vac and get it out here. Okay, I didn't figure you guys really wanted to listen to the shop vac in here. It was bad enough listening to the impact gun rattle in here. So we've got it all vacuumed out fairly well. One of the things, for anybody who has ever owned a Blazer or a full-size Jeep Cherokee or Wagoneer that has a window that rolls up and down into the tailgate, I think the old Broncos were the same way. You'll know that the minute you head down a dirt road, you end up with dirt all over the inside of the cab and all over your stuff that's in the back here. These things never sealed up very well when they were brand new, and you know, this one's an 86, so go figure. Yeah, it doesn't seal up very well at all. So at any rate, all I'm trying to do is get the worst of the big chunks and the dog hair. You got to maintain that every once in a while. But we've got the seat out, and so now we're going to go ahead and put the radio bracket back on and get that installed. All right, so that mount is out, and now we're going to have to try to remove, well, shoot. We're going to have to pull probably this plate here off of the mount in order to get the cable that goes over there. So that is probably going to end up being done at another time, because we still have pretty good access to all the bolts that hold this on. And we may go ahead and pull this one off as well. I'm not real sure about this. I do have a radio for this, but it broadcasts on frequencies that, unless you're running in like a military vehicle convoy or have a bunch of buddies, you know, that live close by that have these types of radios, they're mainly just for looking, for show. So there we go. It's all bolted up back up in there. So let's get our tools and everything cleaned up and get us a piece of plywood to lay down in the back here. All right, it is really windy out here, so I'm going to try to shield the microphone here. But I found in my stuff an old 4 foot by about 6.5 foot piece of plywood that had some 2x2s tacked to the back of it to give it some extra support. So we're going to throw this up in the truck and see if this will fit. And look at that. That fits just about perfectly. So we're going to go ahead and get the spare tire put back on there and make sure that there's enough adjustment in the mount there for the spare tire to fit. And if that fits, then I think we're going to call that good. Unfortunately, this thing sat out for a while, so the paint that's on it is kind of scraped up, but we'll make it work. Get that bolt slide up, and it's not going to line up perfectly. But that will line up well enough to put the plate on it. There we go. And there we go. That will go ahead and that'll also help hold this in place. Like I said, this is the next thing we gotta to do, because this is a temporary deal right now. One of the other things I want to see is whether I can put a full-size GI folding cot, you know, assembled in there. I've got one in my van, so we're going to go ahead and pull that out of the van and see if we can't get that set up in the back here and still close the tailgate. I'll be right back. Alright, got our folding cot here, and it actually looks like it's going to be just a little bit too long. Yep, it's going to be just a little bit too long for this setup here. Dang it. I guess we'll have to do something different. Well, this setup is not ideal, but I think it will work. It's a couple of foam pads. I can go ahead and they do fit, and it fits just about perfectly, but it is going to be a pain with that seat belt thing there, so we may have to get a little creative with that, but that should work. We are going to have to put the Butter's bed right over behind the passenger seat there. And he'll be able to lay on this too if he wants. But for right now, I think that we're going to go ahead and call it a day, and until we can get do a little bit more thinking and cogitating on how we're going to clean up this this piece of plywood here, and yeah, and then go from there. All right, folks, it's the next day, and in case you're wondering why we've always got the camera inside the Blazer here, is because we are dealing with another storm front coming through, and the wind is just terrible. All you would hear for the sound would be just the wind blowing. At any rate, yesterday we didn't get any film of it because of the wind. We went ahead and sanded down this board that we ended up with. Sanded it down and covered it with some old canvas. And then stapled the canvas down with a pneumatic staple gun. So at any rate, the canvas isn't perfectly clean, but it was better than trying to paint the plywood, which we would have never had time to get it for it to get dried, because I have to leave tomorrow morning to go over to Plymouth, California for the MVCC spring meet, and we're taking this. So at any rate, we're going to go ahead and get the mattress or foam pads put in here and get them get everything kind of set up, and we'll show you what other things we're going to put in the truck as we to go ahead and make it more for, I guess, a poor man's overlanding rig. So but we got to have room, we got to have a place for me to sleep, we got to have a place for Butters to sleep, and our ice chest, and then some of the other things that we're going to need to carry. A lot of it we are also going to be carrying in the M416 trailer that'll be towed behind. So, any rate, we'll keep going here. All right, there we have it. So we got bed happening here. If you guys are expecting hospital corners, think again. Ain't no drill sons around here, so I ain't doing no hospital corners. So at any rate, one of the other things that we've got that's going in here is this water heater. This is actually an MRE heater. It's designed for either heating water for rations or heating the rations themselves. I've got a 24-volt power supply that'll plug in right here, and you just go ahead and you got a little tray here for heating MREs, and then you can also heat water in this section here. You can heat up to a gallon of water without this insert in here, or you can go ahead and heat up your water, say for like you know, Mountain House meal or something like that, without having to fire up your jet boil. So at any rate, I have never used this. I bought it at Plymouth last year, so we're going to give it a try on our trip tomorrow, or not tomorrow, but we're going to give it a try on the trip that we got to make to Southern California here in a few days. So at any rate, I'm going to end up just setting it right here for right now in the radio rack, because we're not going to be taking the radio down there. And I got to get a strap. We'll strap that down. The next thing we've got to get is we've got to get Butter's bed, and we'll set that probably right here. And then we'll go ahead and set the ice chest right here. So give me a minute and I'll go get that stuff. Okay. We've got Butter's bed. This is the bed that he has out of the M151. We're just going to pull that out, set that right there. That way he's got some place to lie down. And then we're going to set our ice chest right here. You can see I've got a hose hooked up to the ice chest. This hose, you can see it here, there's a valve on the drain for the ice chest. This is so that I don't have to go ahead and pull the ice chest out to drain the water out. I can just hang this out the back of the truck, open the valve, and the water drains out. So we've got that, and now we're going to get a canvas general purpose strap here. We're going to run it underneath the mount. I'm not doing any permanent mounting for any of this stuff yet, because I do not know for sure how all of this is going to work. But what I'll be able to do with this is when I go to use it, because I've got to pull the top off of it, I'll go ahead and pull the strap loose, put the water in it, get it fired up, and if I'm going to be traveling while the moving down the road while I'm waiting for the water to heat up, I can go ahead and just strap this back down again. And it depends. If I'm running down the highway, down paved highway, I may not need to strap it down. We're just going to have to kind of see how that works out. So we don't have a whole lot of room in here for like bags of clothes or anything else like that. So what we are going to have is, in the 416 trailer, I've got a large Pelican case that will set down in that trailer, and that's where I can put things like a spare sleeping bag if I need it, food, and any other things that I don't necessarily need to carry in the truck. So for stuff, if I'm going to be traveling just like an overnight close by, I can go ahead and stuff packs in and around here. And now in the back here we have a 5-gallon jerry can holder that is going to be used while only for water. We're not going to be carrying fuel inside the vehicle. That is for fuel, but we won't be carrying fuel inside the vehicle, especially diesel. You just do not want any kind of a little leak on that diesel, and the whole inside of the truck is going to stink, and it's going to be all over my bedding. So this is the first iteration of the 1009 Overland conversion. We're trying to do this on a budget, and as of right now, since I started this project, I have put exactly $0. This is all stuff that I've had hanging around. So any rate, I think that's about it for this little video. This shouldn't be all that long of a video, but any rate, I hope you guys liked it. Remember, please like, share, and subscribe, and we'll see you on the next one.